Welcome to BEA Industrial Presentation. This presentation is an introduction to the IS-40 family. Agenda and topics: BEA overview, IS-40 family, motion detection, presence detection, BEA universal remote control, and questions. Global BEA. You can see by the names of the locations below: USA, Europe, China, Japan, Brazil. These are all manufacturing and R&D departments. Additionally, the USA, we have listed Los Angeles, California. It's not really manufacturing. This is a third-party vendor that we have a stocking warehouse, so that if you order parts from the West Coast or maybe order after 5 p.m. Eastern Time, this is where they'll be shipped out of. This is for your convenience to expedite the shipping process. History of BEA. The creation of the company was in 1965. In 1972, we introduced the first microwave and IR sensor. In 1987, BEA USA was created. In 1988, BER, our Design, Research and Development Office in Belgium, was created. In 1994, the beginning of activities in China was started. In 2001, BEA Brazil and BEA Japan was created. In 2002, the integration into the Halma Group, a holding company. In 2006, an expanded 4-segment focus on 4 different markets: pedestrian, low energy, industrial, and security. In 2009, we introduced the industry's first industrial dual technology activation and presence sensor. In 2011, our industrial laser scanner was the IS-40 family. On the left, IS-40P, or presence only, IS-40 in the middle, and IS-40XL for extra low mounting. IS-40 dual technology. On the upper right of your screen, you see 2 circles. The blue circle indicates a person being detected by microwaves. The red circle indicates a person being detected by infrared or presence detection. Again, you see the 2 circles on the lower left of your screen, where blue equals microwave motion detection and the red equals infrared IR presence detection. If you look closely at the sensor on your right, the lower portion, there's a bubble or a bump out on the sensor. That's for the microwave motion antenna is installed. And then on the upper portion, there's 2 squares. That's where the infrared emitter and receiver is located. Additionally, you see the picture of the forklift. Mounted overhead is the IS-40. You see the round blue circles. That's the microwave portion of the sensor. And then the red circles or dots that are on the floor, that is the infrared presence detection portion of the sensor. IS-40, IS-40XL, and IS-40P. The industry's first industrial dual technology sensor. The IS-40 and IS-40XL, indicated by the blue microwave circle and the red presence detection circle. Dual technology motion and presence sensor, K-band microwave motion detection, focused active infrared, focused active IR or infrared presence detection, adjustable IR pattern and target size, 2 relay outputs, activation and safety. The IS-40P, presence only, indicated by the red circle, focused active IR presence detection, can detect both moving and motionless objects, adjustable IR pattern and target size, multiple learn time settings from 30 seconds to infinity. Motion detection, all-weather K-band microwave motion detection. Microwave technology. This applies to the IS-40 and IS-40XL. The concept is Doppler effect principle. When radar strikes a moving object, microwaves are reflected back and their frequency is shifted in proportion to the speed, size, and direction of the object. BEA's IS-40 detect motion utilizing K-band microwave technology. The IS-40 has the ability to understand the direction of the motion and can discriminate between pedestrian and vehicular traffic. BEA microwave sensors. BEA has over 1 million microwave sensors installed in North America alone. Here are some of our most popular. Falcon, ingress, egress, differentiation, and the ability to reject cross-traffic, human, and vehicle differentiation. IS-40, ingress, egress, differentiation, and the ability to reject cross-traffic, human, and vehicle differentiation. Added IR for presence detection. Eagle HM, microwave activation sensor with ingress, egress, differentiation. G3I Industrial utilizes microwave activation and infrared presence with ingress and egress differentiation. It's a dual technology sensor. MS-08. The MS-08 is a small microwave and touchless wall switch. Sparrow, a new microwave activation sensor, multiple mounting options up to 20 feet. Presence detection, focused active infrared. Focused active infrared. This applies to the IS-40, IS-40P, and IS-40XL. Focused active infrared. Focused active infrared uses emitter-receiver pairs to generate IR spots on the background or floor. Each IR emitter emits infrared towards the background and a portion of the IR is reflected back to its receiver. The sensor then determines a balance of reflectivity or the threshold. If there is a significant change in the reflectivity of the IR above or below the threshold, the sensor will trigger a detection and send a signal. The picture on the left is from a high-resolution infrared camera showing the actual infrared spots on the floor. Focused active infrared. BEA's focused active infrared sensors send an output signal after the reflectivity of the emitted IR exceeds the upper threshold or falls below the lower threshold. With software immunity, the sensor's threshold limits will automatically adjust to subtle changes in reflectivity. You see the picture there, we've got an upper limit on the threshold and a lower limit on the threshold. Any change above or below that will indicate detection at the sensor. Additionally, the red and the dark blue line can shift up and down with changes due to tracking with the software immunity on the sensor. Why presence detection? Presence detection will detect moving, static, or stationary objects or targets, thus increasing safety near the door. Presence detection will hold a door open with a slow-moving or stationary object. Presence detection can add increased functionality to your sensor. Works in conjunction or independently with the motion portion of the sensor. Detects objects at or near the floor. IS-40, IS-40P, and IS-40XL description. The IS-40 for normal mounting height 8 foot to 16 feet. The IS-40XL for low mounting 6 foot 5 inches or 6.5 feet to 11.5 feet. Additionally, if using the IS-40P, the 6.5 foot up to 16 foot would be permissible. On the description here, the first bullet point is the IR angle indicator. Number 2 are the LEDs, green for motion, red for presence. Number 3 is where the IR emitter and receiver is located. Number 4 is the radar angle adjustment dial, and you see that below the little square here below, the little kind of purple square that has the degrees on it, when the arrow is at 12 o'clock, it indicates 0 degrees and can be adjusted to -8 degrees up to 22 degrees. Number 5, the radar detection antenna. Number 6, the sensor angle adjustment. Number 7 is the bracket or mounting bracket. Number 8 is the cable. Note number 4 and number 5, which is radar angle adjustment dial and radar detection antenna, they do not apply when using the IS-40P. Additionally, there are 2 options for changing the motion detection angle. If you physically tilt the angle, this also affects the IR presence detection area. So you may use number 4, the radar angle adjustment dial. In addition, you can physically tilt the sensor. Be mindful that by physically tilting the sensor, you'll change the infrared detection area too. IS-40 specifications. On this page, we'll cover the items that are highlighted. We won't cover everything, the items that are not highlighted. At the top, the sensor tilt angle is 15 degrees to 45 degrees. The relay output are 2 relays rated at 60 volts DC or 125 VAC. The installation height for the IS-40 is 8 foot to 16 foot. For the IS-40 XL, 6.5 foot to 11.5 feet. The temperature range, -22 to 140 degrees. Down near the bottom, the maximum detection field for the motion or microwave portion of the IS-40 is 13 feet by 16 foot, and its presence detection field is 10 foot by 10 foot. This would be mounted at 16 foot height. For the IS-40 XL, the maximum motion or microwave detection field is 13 feet by 6.5 feet. Its infrared presence detection field for the IS-40 XL is 7.5 by 7.5 feet. IS-40 wiring. At the top of your screen shows the various wire colors and what they represent. For power, red and black are power. For activation or motion, the white is the relay common, green is normally open, and yellow is normally closed. For the presence relay output, white with the black stripe is relay common, green with the black stripe is normally open, yellow with the black stripe is normally closed. Below that is the various relay configurations. By default, the relay is set to number 4, active, active. IS-40 motion patterns. On the screen are 3 different motion patterns, or 3 different grids, with all the same mounting heights. The key difference is the total angle difference from left to right. For example, the grid with the 3 patterns on the left display a total sensor angle of 22 degrees, and the center is a total tilt angle of 30 degrees. On the right is a total tilt angle of 41 degrees. As you can see, the farther you tilt the sensor outward, the farther the pattern is moved away from your area of detection or maybe your door opening. Additionally, there are 2 adjustments to make here. 1, physically tilt the sensor in or out, which we are showing already, or you may use the adjustment potentiometer to only adjust the motion field without physically tilting the sensor. IS-40 XL motion patterns. This is very similar to the previous screen, with the exception that this shows the IS-40 XL patterns. Again, it's broken up into 3 grids from left to right. The sensor angles are all the same at 30 degrees. We're showing the adjustment potentiometer on the left, -8 degrees, has a net total angle of 22 degrees. The center grid has an adjustment potentiometer set at 0 degrees for a net total angle of 30 degrees. And then the right, we have it set to 11 degrees, which has a net total angle of 41 degrees. IS-40 motion detection. What you see on the screen is right out of the user's guide. This is showing all of the parameters that are related to the motion or activation portion of the sensor. At the top, the sensitivity button or the ramp with the default value in the bold below 7, so the sensitivity is set to 7 by default. The detection mode, bidirectional, unidirectional, or unidirectional one-way detection away or departing from the sensor. The default is unidirectional towards the sensor. The next one is the activation relay hold time. Once you stop moving, the sensor will hold its signal by default 1/2 of a second, adjustable up to 9 seconds. Next is the rejection mode, or perhaps you may call it a pedestrian filter or vehicle detection, all one and the same. By default, it's set to value 1, no filtering, so all vehicles, all pedestrians will be detected by default. We'll see more information on this rejection mode in the next screen. IS-40 rejection settings. The rejection mode, or pedestrian filter, or vehicle detection, these can be termed all one and the same. The button below the setting corresponds to the button you would see on the handheld remote control. Some people call it a square with parentheses. Some call it a shaky box. Nevertheless, it is the rejection mode button. By default, the value is set to 1, detection of all kinds of targets in motion, pedestrians or vehicles. If you choose to configure the sensor for vehicle detection, we would recommend to start at value 3. This will detect small vehicles, low pedestrian parallel traffic rejection, plus interference immunity. Basically, the larger the vehicle, the larger the detection filter could be set to. Additionally, by physically tilting the sensor can have a great effect on the performance of the rejection mode setting. IS-40 output configuration. As you can see, there are many different configurations capable with the IS-40. The F1 parameter will set the output configuration as you need it. By default, the F1 value is set to 0, standard mode, meaning when a person or object enters the motion field, its output is active, and then when a person or object enters the presence field, its output is active. You can control this by simply changing the F1 parameter. For example, if you were to choose F1 and then 1, pulse on entry. What does this mean? It activates if the object motion is detected and then object enters the present zone. So the activation signal would only occur in a direction going toward the sensor where you detect motion and then presence, and only in that direction. So it kind of controls your traffic flow going toward your door. Additionally, in that same mode, if you had cross traffic constantly tripping or activating the motion field, nothing would happen until you trigger the motion field and then the presence field. Then and only then something would happen. IS-40, IS-40P angle adjustment. What you see on the screen now are 3 different angle adjustments, or 3 different grids showing the angle adjustments. The physical tilt angle of the sensor from left to right is 15 degrees, 30 degrees, and 45 degrees. Additionally, the microwave adjustment potentiometer is set to 0. These are 3 examples of where the pattern may be located based on the physical tilt angle of the sensor. As you can see, first one on the left is recommended at 15 degrees. The second one in the middle, 30 degrees, could be acceptable as well, and it's not recommended to adjust the sensor out at 45 degrees. If you're installing this on a door, it puts the pattern too far in front of the door, creating too much of an inactive area closer to the door threshold area. The notes below: number 1, it's important to adjust the sensor angle first to position the IR field correctly. Next, adapt the angle of the radar field using the tilt angle adjustment screw. Number 2, to obtain an IR pattern that's straight down closest to the door threshold, Wall-mounted sensors need to be set at 20 degrees. Sensors mounted on an extension bracket or out from the wall should be set to approximately 15 degrees. Number 3, the graphics above are not to scale and are for illustration purposes and represent an approximate IR detection field when at 16 foot. The point of emphasis is to show the IR detection area with respect to the sensor angles. IS-40, IS-40P, IS-40XL, IR, or infrared pattern size. The point of emphasis on this slide is twofold. One, to show two examples of the pattern size with several examples of the target size that's relevant to the pattern size. The first pattern size is shown by the symbol at the top of the screen, the B button, or the second button from the upper right. Using your handheld remote control, pattern 1 is the default. That is the largest infrared or IR pattern that the sensor is capable, and that is the default setting. For example, if you were to mount the sensor at 16 feet, you would have an approximate 10 foot wide by 10 foot deep infrared or IR pattern. To choose the target size, or how many spots are covered up within the target, you have 7 choices off to the right of 7 different target sizes. For any of those target sizes to be detected, the target would have to cover up all of those spots. The bigger the target, the bigger the pattern would have to be. It's important to know that those targets can be random anywhere within the pattern. The second example is pattern number 9, a little bit smaller, actually quite a bit smaller. And you see there's only 3 target sizes that are only relevant to that given pattern. You cannot choose a target size larger than the pattern. If you did, you would never have any type of detection. And again, any of these 3 targets on pattern 9 can be random. You look at target size number 2, that's not true. That would mean the entire pattern would have to be covered up or interrupted by a given target for detection to occur. We'll see all of the patterns on the next slide. IS-40P, IS-40, IS-40XL. IR pattern / target size. On this page we see all the available patterns on the left column, and to the right of each pattern is the available targets that are relevant to that pattern. As stated on the previous slide, we talked about pattern 1 and pattern 9 and the available targets for each of those patterns. All of these patterns here have their relevant target sizes that are available to be used for that given pattern. There are 9 different patterns, as you see. And again, as a reminder, the target size can vary location within the IR pattern size. As an example, if we look at pattern, let's say 8, if we choose target size number 5, 4 spots, any of those 4 spots in that configuration would be detected. If target 5 is detected anywhere in pattern 8, the infrared portion of the sensor would detect it. IS-40, IS-40P, IS-40XL, IR or infrared pattern size. With a sensor mounting angle of 15 degrees, here's the approximate IR pattern size based on a given mounting height. If we were to mount the sensor at 8 foot above the finished floor, we'll have an approximate 5 foot by 5 foot pattern. If you mount the sensor at 10 foot, approximately 6 foot wide square. If you mount the sensor at 11.5 foot, the pattern size would be 7.5 feet by 7.5 feet. A mounting height of 13 foot, this would only be relevant to the IS-40 and the IS-40P. The IR pattern size is 8.5 feet by 8.5 feet. The mounting height of 16 feet, again only relevant to the IS-40 and IS-40P. IR pattern size is 10 foot wide by 10 foot deep. IS-40XL for lower mounting. BEA offers a proven solution for smaller interior doors. Applications typically will be ideal operating environment for technology. Showing on the lower left are two different pattern sizes for the IS-40 and IS-40XL. As you can see, the presence or infrared is the same. The key difference with the IS-40XL is the pattern width is wider and not as deep as the IS-40. Maximum mounting height for the IS-40XL is 11.5 feet. BEA Universal Remote Control. Control most BEA products with one single remote. BEA Universal Remote Control can be used to program most BEA sensors. In fact, it can be used to program all BEA sensors that are remote control capable. A must for the IS-40 family eliminates the need for a lift or ladder when making parameter adjustments, can program sensors with an access code for security, and prevents you from unintentionally programming another sensor in close proximity. Changing the parameters. To review again, all adjustments using the remote control start by pressing the Unlock button. Select the parameter that you wish to change or query. To query a parameter value, press the question button. To change the parameter value, press a value 0 through 9. Finish all adjustments by pressing the Lock button twice. This will ensure to save your settings. For example, if we want to query or ask a question, what is the sensitivity or what is the microwave sensitivity? The ramp or wedge-shaped button is the sensitivity. So let's ask the question, what is the value of the sensitivity? Press Unlock, red, red, red. Next, press the sensitivity button. It's going to blink red real fast, red, 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 red. And then press the question mark and count the number of green blinks. The number of green blinks equals the parameter value. If you want to change the sensitivity, simply press the sensitivity button again, the value you want, and then save it. Lock, lock. Microwave parameters. Notice the blue circle indicates microwave. All the parameters on this page are microwave parameters that are adjusted using the remote control. The first one is sensitivity. The ramp or wedge button is microwave sensitivity, usually used to determine the pattern size of the microwave field. The next one is detection mode. Determines the direction the object must travel to cause a detection. Rejection mode, or another term for this is pedestrian rejection, vehicle detection. Pedestrian discrimination is another term. All one and the same for the rejection mode. Determines the mass of the object required to cause a detection. The next one, relay hold time, determines how long the sensor will remain in detection after movement has stopped. This relay hold time is adjustable up to 9 seconds. If you're detected by the microwave, you stop. The relay will hold its output up to 9 seconds, the default being 1/2 of a second, 0.5. Infrared IR parameters. Notice the red circle or red icon at the upper right that indicates infrared, IR, or presence. Automatic learn time. The automatic learn time is adjusted by the remote button that looks like a camera. The automatic learn time determines how long a motionless or static object must remain in the presence field to be recognized as part of the background. Next, the immunity filter. This button on the remote control we commonly call the ghost. It filters out environmental disturbances, slight vibrations, etc. Next, the frequency. The D, David, or the fourth button down from the top right, changes the infrared pulse rate to eliminate crosstalk between two sensors in close proximity. Infrared or IR parameters continued. Pattern. This remote control button is the B, Bravo, or second button down from the top right of the remote. This changes the size of the presence field. Next, the target size, this is the F2 button, determines the size of an object needed for detection in the presence field. Next, setup, stores a background reference for the presence field. The procedure for setting up, you always want to set up the sensor after installation. The remote control procedure is unlock, press the bottom right of the remote. We call this the magic wand, or sometimes just wand. So unlock, magic wand, 0, and stand clear. Stand out of the detection zone. The sensor will blink red, green, red, green, red, green for approximately 15 seconds or so. It's essentially taking a picture or storing a new background reference in the presence field. General parameters. Relay configuration. The remote control button on the right is the relay button. Changes the relay state of the sensor. Next, the output configuration, or F1 button, provides options for virtual loop functions, pulse on entry, pulse on exit, etc. Next, default values, restores the factory default settings to the sensor. For example, how do you set the sensor back to default? Press unlock, magic wand, 9. The sensor will blink red, green for a few seconds to reinitialize and clear all the previously saved parameters and reset it back to factory default. Access codes. What you see here on the screen is exactly what you'll see in the user's guide. For example, the first one from the top, important. Ensure to save any changes during the adjustment session via pressing lock. To the right of this, we have the remote control. So for example, unlock, press your parameter, press the new value, lock to save. Next, always finish an adjustment session by launching a setup. With the remote, unlock, magic wand, 0. Next, resetting to factory values. Unlock, magic wand, 9. Next, setting an access code. Unlock, lock, press any 4-digit number. Next, deleting an access code. This is for deleting an access code when you already know what the code is. Press unlock, then the 4-digit access code, then press lock, then press the new access code, or to delete the access code, press 0 4 times. And that will delete it, and then the next time you go to unlock, you'll simply press unlock and then go. By setting the access code to 4 zeros is effectively erasing the access code and making it nothing. The note at the bottom says if you don't know the access code, cycle the power supply, and within 1 minute, you can access the sensor without introducing any access code or delete the existing access code per the instructions above. Please stand by for questions. We can also be reached at tech_services@beainc.com. That's tech_services@beainc.com. We'll be with you momentarily.